I am coming in to do this really quick video. I don't even know if I'm in frame. This is all a test. Here we go. I'm coming in to do this really quick video. I'm in my studio working on this kit, or at least I want to be. I showed this in one of my recent unboxings for connecting threads, and this is a quilt that I want to do for Christmas. So what I'm going to do is take you along as I start the process of cutting the fabric. I must admit, I did not realize that this fabric is like a fleece material. Or maybe it's not. No, it's not. So what I'll do is I will capture these in an overhead picture so that you'll be able to see the different fabrics, and I'm going to start reading through this pattern. I really would like to get this done within the next couple of weeks because we'd love to do this as a giveaway for our readers. And so with that said, let's get to this quilt. I am coming in, and this is the best way that I can do this without pulling out everything. I want to show you the fabrics before I start cutting into them. I'm going to see if I can get us a little bit more light. Here we go. There we go. That helps a little. So here we go. I'm just going to hold. Oh, little teddy bears. I thought these were fat quarters, but they're not fat quarters. They look like they're fat eighths. Well, skipped one. And these were all a part of the kit. I'm really looking forward to doing this. I'm hoping it's as easy as it looks so that I can use the the pattern again. And there we go. That's just a repeat. So these are all of the fabrics up close. And I'm going to also show, the background is an off-white. I kind of wish it was a true white, but it's more like a cream. Let me grab it. And here we go. So this is for the binding, which is beautiful. This is for a border. And then this is the background. So the next step, I just showed you the fabrics. I'm going to start the cutting process according to the pattern. And this is what we're going for right here. My hope is that it will be fairly straightforward, especially because it's not paper piece. And the size is a throw, which is 68 by 80, which is pretty big. Look at it in blue. I think that is so pretty. And let's see. Oh, yeah. Need 14 fat eighths. What this calls for is either 27 pre-cut 10-inch squares or 14 fat eighths or 7 fat quarters or 7 1/4 yard cuts. 7 1/4 yard cuts. That actually might be what this is. 1/4 yard cuts. Backing is 7 1/3 yards. Binding is 3/4 yard. And the border is 5/8 of a yard. No, I said that wrong. 5 yards on the background, 7 1/3 yards on the backing. Wait, no, that's not right. Let me say that again. I'm so sorry. It's been a long day. Okay, the prints were correct. Border was 5/8 of a yard. Background was 3 3/4 yards. Backing is 5 yards. Includes a vertical seam. And binding is 5/8. Either way, it looks pretty straightforward. So I'm going to start getting this cut for the throw. I'm just looking at the instructions. You know, one of the things that I always find fascinating is how none of this is really universal. When I pick people that I like their patterns, I like them, you know, like you get used to their style of writing patterns. Oh my goodness. There are a lot of little strips on this. 9 strips of 1 1/2 by the width of fabric. Oh my gosh. I will survive. Okay. With that said, I'm going to not think too much into this. I'm going to get into it. I'm going to count up the fabric so I know what exactly I have. And I'm going to just start cutting. I'm going to cut everything so that I can just sit in chain piece. And I think I can have this done within the next week at the most. And that will be what I'm pushing for. Because I'm doing this to hopefully turn it into a giveaway quilt, that means I need to not just make the top. I need to also have it quilted and bound and ready to go no later than, I think the latest that I really should do it should be like by the 2nd week of December. So that gives me about a good 3 weeks to really see what I can do. Because we could just have the top done and take pictures to be able to start the giveaway process, knowing that we're going to mail it either right at the end of the year or at the beginning of next year. But I still think it'll be really good. We're also going to include copies of our Christmas romances that we have coming out this year. And I believe it's 5 of them that will be a part of this. So it'll be a nice giveaway. And so I'm looking forward to it. And the fact that this is going to be, you know, handmade. So with that said, that is what I have. And I'm going to get to cutting because some of these pieces are really small. So yeah, I'll come back with updates. And yeah, let's go ahead and just get to the next clip. I'm coming in for a real quick checkup. Of course, strings are everywhere. I have just finished cutting all of the color fabrics, and now I'm moving to the background fabric. But I will say this, if you purchase this quilt, and I'm sure I'll do it in my closer, but I just don't want to forget this. If you purchase this kit, this is the Connecting Threads Mod Mugs Throw Kit, or if you purchase the pattern, because I realized they gave some diagrams on cutting the fabric, and when I looked at it, I was like, okay, this looks confusing. And so what I would strongly recommend, y'all, whenever I turn this, I don't know to look here or look here. So if I look shifty-eyed, it's because my eyes. And I probably need some more light. Whenever you get ready to cut, my recommendation is to cut one fabric first. And that's usually, y'all just going to have to deal with it not having light. That's usually a rule of thumb when you're doing something like this and you're trying to go fast. Of course, we I, in my haste, move past the little tidbits. And, oh, that's my thread. I was like, what is that? But in this case, because the diagrams just did not gel well, I don't know who did this, but whoever did this image, they didn't mean to do it like this. They couldn't have. So this kit came with 1/4 cuts, which was 9 inches, which was perfect. Now, the other thing that's really, really good about this quilt pattern is that you can create one mug as far as the colored pieces with one 10-inch square, which is also really great. So I cannot wait to do it. I'm just hoping I am still gung-ho about it once I finish all this background cutting. But what I would say is cut one first. Having the 1/4 of a yard strips was perfect for doing it at a manageable size, even though there are some smaller cuts on here. And so I would recommend that. What I found is once I cut that first one, I sort of wrote a little, y'all, I love a good process. I just wrote a process for myself. Like when I get the fabric, cut this, then cut this, then cut this, then cut this, then cut this. And I literally can check it off. And it made it so that I didn't have any mishaps and I could listen to an audiobook without having any issues. So again, I would suggest doing at least one round first. And then once I did that, everything was easy peasy. Let me show you my setup before I go ahead and move to my background fabrics. So this is what I've done. Here are all of the large blocks, which are the main part of the mug. And here are all the smaller sections that are needed. I have them in the same order. So once I pick up these, I can pick up these. I did make sure that I did not put the same color right on top of each other so that I wouldn't get accidentally turned around. And now here's the background fabric that I will do next. There is our mini check-in, and I am gonna get back to this. Am I the only one that when it is time to follow directions like this, that I have to tell myself, focus, Dana, because I just want to be like, cut it up and move. I'm trying to get out of that. And so next I'm going to do the background fabric. I've also started making notes on my own quilt. This one is for the throw. And as a reminder, it is 68 by 80 inches. For my own, I want to do the twin. Y'all, it's got to be big enough for me and my husband to sit under. So, and he's taller than me. If he was shorter, then the throw would be fine. But I want to do the twin size. And so I've been sort of just making notes for myself so that I can reuse them again. And so now I'm going to get into the background fabric, which quite honestly looks very, very, very intimidating. But I'm literally going to just take it from top to bottom and do exactly what it tells me to do and make it do what it do. I probably should multiply this. I think I introduced y'all to my big ass calculator. Okay, I'm gonna multiply this and so I can do some like single cuts. Oh, that's not bad. Y'all, it's a lot of cuts. One of these has 15 strips by the width of fabric. 2 of them have 9. 1 has 8. Like, there's a lot of cutting. I wish it was sort of set up just like the mugs where you could have paired like one 10-inch background block to one 10-inch color block. That would have been really nice. But that's what we have. So with that said, I'm going to go. I'll see you on the next clip. Overall, this has been really good. And even the small cuts of the color block wasn't that bad at all. So I'm hoping this is the same, that it looks more overwhelming than it is. And making sure I stay on the right pattern and don't get mixed up. That's the thing too. So I keep these little post-it notes around. I'm going to just block off the other one so that I don't get confused like this. And then I'll be able to go ahead and do it. So with that said, your girl is out. I'll see you in the next clip. I'm coming in for another quick update as a reminder. Yeah, this is the angle because it's quick to set up. I am rolling on this, and I'm finding that cutting these smaller pieces is not so bad. However, I've already run into the make sure that you measure twice, cut once, because I had to literally sew some pieces together to get the cuts. This is what happens when you have kids, and I just did the cardinal rule of not just stopping and making sure I had the right cut. With that said, what I'm finding to be my absolute bestie in this process is this ruler. I bought this ruler a long time ago, and I think I've only used it maybe 2 times, 3 times, and I've had it a really long time, and it is working out beautifully. What I am doing is for the background pieces that have mini cuts that you're cutting out of one piece of fabric, I'm cutting them down into portions. Like, for example, I had one cut where I needed to get 15 2-inch cuts. So what I did is did them in sets of 3. So I did 3 10-inch cuts that I then subcutted. And it's making it so that I'm able to get my strips really nice. And so, lesson learned. I'm going to keep going. I have not actually started sewing any blocks. As I started working on the pieces, I just decided I'm going to go ahead and cut all of the fabric, and I am marking them in the container with little, I like to use like little post-it notes like this, where I put the measurement and they're in a dedicated container so that it doesn't shift or move and they stay stationary. And so that's what I'm doing now. So my hope is by the end of this weekend, I have all of the background fabric cut, and I'm just about done, and it's Saturday. So I should be able to do it unless I just don't feel like it tomorrow. There was something else. And I think the rest of them, like, no, I'm not. I have one more like really small cut. This is probably my last big cut where I need to do 15 strips, and then I need to subcut those, so that may take me a little while. It goes pretty quick once you start rolling. So that's been my best tool for my rulers. And then this guy has been a champ. So it's I don't remember what it's called, and it has something on here, but it doesn't have the name. It's a suction cup, and you can easily remove it from your ruler and add it onto any other ruler. And this has been absolutely perfect for cutting those small pieces and keeping it stationary so that those small pieces don't shift. And so, yeah, so able to use tools that I already had, and it's helping out quite a bit. The final thing that has helped a lot with this project is pressing. They sent this as a kit, but whoever cut my background fabric, they cut the fabric like they were not a quilter. They cut it like, they folded the fabric back up like they were folding a sheet, and not like you were folding yardage of fabric. So it was crinkled, it was wrinkled, it was a mess. So I had to open it up, press it, refold it, and then do my subcuts. And so that was a whole mess. I was like, this person just worked there. They don't quilt. Or they wouldn't know better. So the final tool is this. We know what a rotary cutter is. I've had this larger blade since I started quilting. I think I've only used it maybe twice. I hardly ever use it. I can't remember what the size is. This one is a 45. I think this one's a 60. I don't know. I usually use a 45. And I've been using this for these larger cuts with this ruler for the subcuts, and it makes it pretty easy. So I don't feel so bad about the small pieces. So with that said, I'm about to get back to work. I will see you all on the next clip. Y'all, I'm coming in real quick because I haven't did an update on this project in a little bit. It's been a few days. So in my studio, I needed to get some stuff repaired, like on a wall. So that sort of slowed me down. And then I've been having so many cutting issues with this pattern. Y'all listen, the cutting is not the pattern's fault. However, the pattern is very frustrating. And I realize how much, okay, I'm trying to not get the glare on you. I realize how much I am really used to patterns being pre-cut friendly. I'm trying to put you in a place where I don't have to hold you. Let's try to put you on a shelf. Let's see if this works. Oh, almost. It's a little bit crooked, but will work. I just want my hands to be free. How I am used to patterns being pre-cut friendly, even if I'm not using pre-cuts, or the cuts being friendly to what I'm going to call fast cutting. I don't know what it would be called, but like if you, let's say, for example, you have this piece of fabric and it's the width of the fabric folded in half. And then I could cut this and get four cuts out of it at one time. This pattern is not that pattern. And so what that ends up turning into, if you're somebody like me that is used to doing a cut and I'm going, okay, if I do these 2 cuts by width of fabric and then I cut into it to do my subcuts, I'm going to get four cuts. I'm going to get 4 pieces per cut. This one's not like that. And therefore, and it makes, in my opinion, the math on the pattern wrong. And I really don't think there's no way around that unless you literally take you cut the width of fabric and you lay it out flat and you subcut. Anybody got time for that? And listen, but this pattern is saying you gonna learn today because it's so that was problem number 1. Problem number 2 is I really believe the background fabric that they gave in the kit is on the shorter side. This is where knowing the fact that some come 40, some come 44, but you don't choose when you get a kit. And I believe this kit is on the shorter side because you cannot get, two 12-inch cuts out of it. If I'm cutting, if I'm doing a 12.5-inch, I only get 6 cuts out of it and it leaves a slither. Now the slithers that are left, it is so much waste because of this. On top of the fact that I had all kinds of issues with the cutting because honestly, this is one of those patterns that had I known what I know now, so I'm telling you, look, I don't think it's the pattern fault. I think that now when I look at it'll make me not want to get certain patterns because even when people write bad patterns, if you're used to it, you know how to make adjustments, especially if they use standard cuts. If it's not like that, then what happens is you get turned around and nothing is standardized. I feel like I'm complaining and I'm not complaining. I'm just frustrated and I'm going to leave this in because if you are like me and you have to hop in and out, this is not the kind of pattern for you because every single time I got to focus to get it to do what it's supposed to do. I'm almost done with cutting the background fabric and I promise you, I really hope I love this quilt because if I don't, I'm going to be so upset. And I've already decided I'm redoing this pattern because I want to do this pattern again for my coffee quilt. But I'm not doing it this way. Ain't no way you could pay me to do it this way again. How I'm going to do it, I don't know. Listen, I'm going to get to sketching and I'm going to use standard pieces and I'm going to make it do what it do. I'm going to be like Jimmy Foxx's Ray Charles up in here. I'm going to make it do what it do because this ain't it. And this is one of the reasons why if you are doing a kit, you have to be really careful. And I really, honestly, I love kits, but I have to be really careful because I like to just, and this is not that one. It's not that one. It's not that one or that two. And I'm paying the price for it. It helps that I did the things that I showed in one of the last clips of printing the cuts. And then I just literally went through and just scribbled out everything that I did. If I were to do this again, because I'm saying this right now because I know I will forget. If I were to do this again the way that it's written, I would literally write out every single cut that I need to make with check boxes and check them off, because this thing, it'll have you in here drinking and you show no. Listen, I got Beyonce in my head. I've been drinking. It would have you frustrated. It would have you frustrated. So now what I'm doing is I'm taking the fabrics and I'm pressing them to lay them flat, which means you cannot get multiple cuts out of each one. So I'm having to press them out and stack them, which makes cutting even like a little bit off in accuracy, but it's going to have to be what it is. Yeah, so right now in this stage, I do not mean to discourage anybody, but I think this is one of those moments where having the truth is really helpful. And me giving the tips is how I would remedy that. I would do all my big subcuts first from the fabric, and then I would line those up and put and have them marked with what the cuts are, and then I'd subcut from there. And if you're somebody like me that has to hop in and out of projects, in and out because of time issues, I would not cut unless I could cut everything in that section. So I'm going to give an example. Let's say, for example, you have your background fabric and you have like 2.5 by width of fabric, 5.5 by width of fabric, 6 by width of fabric. Do all of those and have them marked. Then come back around and say, okay, for the 2.5s, you need to subcut them into 2.5-inch squares. I would not start cutting unless I could cut through all of those 2.5 by the width of fabric, just so there's no confusion. You may be better than me, and if you are, power to you, sis, bruh. But for me, that's what I would do. And it would probably take the stress level down and the anxiety of doing it down, because right now it's not fun. Because my focus has to have focus, and that has to have focus to make sure that I do not mess up. Because again, when you have a kit, you have everything. And that means I would have to go to Joann's with a piece of fabric, trying to match the color. I do not have time for that. Now, the benefit of this is I think this quilt is going to be beautiful. And I'm hoping that I get baby brain. Like if you've had a baby and while you're in the middle of labor, you think you will never have a child again, ever. Or you just don't like your spouse because you did this to me. And then a couple months later, you be like, oh, I can do this again. I hope I get baby brain. Because right now, so let me go. I'm about to press so I can lay them out so I can just slowly do it. I'm literally at the telltale end of cutting the background fabric. I'm going to have so much. If you see my scrap pile, it's ridiculous. It's a lot of scraps. And so I'm going to subcut those down into my standard pieces. At least that'll make me feel good, because that'll just be a nice little like neutral color. But yeah, it's a lot of waste. That's a lot of waste. So basically, I'm in my feelings, and I'm going to get back to pressing, because I know this quilt is going to be beautiful, because it's giving me heart palpitations. So I will see you all in the next clip. I hope that there were tips in here. I'm gonna leave this as is because y'all know how I do, but I think it also is helpful. And it also can tell you whether doing kits is for you. And I realize as I've been doing this that if I want to keep doing kits, which I do because it does help me a lot to be able to go ahead and just do stuff, because I don't have to go pick stuff. I don't have to go to the store to pick fabrics and blah, blah, blah and all of that. But it means that I just got to be mindful of that. And it may be that now I really need to start paying attention to the designers, because there's somewhere I'm like, oh my gosh, this quilt looks super complicated and it was really easy. This one looked easy and it is too much. So no. And again, I'm gonna take responsibility for the fact that it might be an operator error. It could be me. It's highly probable that it's me. But right now, I got to get back to it. So I'll see you in the next clip. I'm coming in with another update, and this time I'm not so gloomy. Because of the mishaps in cutting, I am a little bit off. Part of it, honestly, I feel like I'm gonna take responsibility because I'm the one cutting. But the other part, this pattern, I don't know. I'm not gonna get on that. So what I need to do is, I think I'm about to play some switcheroo. Now, fortunately, I'm looking for somewhere to place you. Fortunately, I buy a lot of the connecting threads kits, so I have a lot of their fabric. I'm going to see if I can tilt you. Let's see. I don't want the light directly in your face, but it's a weird angle, but we're going to make it work so I can use my hands. So fortunately, I have a lot of their kits, and what I did was I found one of their kits that I had for the Mine Farmhouse, and what I'm hoping is that it requires me to cut the background fabric into 2.5-inch strips, because if it does, then I can just use one of my jelly rolls. So I'm going through here and looking, because all I need is enough fabric to do one of the borders. Y'all, this is when all of this is just a bit too much. But look, let me see. Your lighting is not totally on, but you still can see this. Look at the difference. This is the one that came with it. This is another one. It's sort of an off-white. This is a real white. And I almost think that you would consider this like a cream, maybe. So much for that idea. Either way it goes, I'm about to start finally piecing. Now, what's interesting is I have quite a bit. I have this, and I also have this. Y'all, I'm not above sewing this back together to get what I need. So I'm going to just hold tight. I'm not going to cut it. I'm going to keep it all together, and I'm going to figure out what I need to do so that I'll be able to finish this quilt. So with that said, I want to keep going. I'm in much better spirits this time, because the other day I was not feeling it. Now, I will tell you this. I have a lot of scraps, and I think I would have had even more had it not been a whole bunch of foolery going on. So I'm going to put all these in one little bin together, and I'm going to just cut these down to my staple pieces and just be done with it. One more thing. I can't remember if I showed you guys, but I made an order for some of these, for a couple of these containers. And I set up one to have my standard size pieces when I cut them down. So all of these are potato chip length. So when I cut this fabric down, I will cut it as potato chip length, which will give me some more of that like light white color. And then so I can use those for offsetting rounds. for I want to make a potato chip quilt. And that's been one of my staple cut pieces since, I always forget her name. I want to say her name is Miss Laura, like So Very Easy or something like that. She had a tutorial probably maybe 5 years ago of her scrappy quilt that was using 2 by 3.5 inch strips or pieces, and that's the same size as the potato chip length base that was in the original video that I found. I can't remember her name. It's like mounds of scraps or mounds of fabric. Y'all, I don't know, but I know if you are a quilter on YouTube, you know who I'm talking about. It's like mounds of scraps. Or her first time talking about the potato chip quilt. I'm gonna get my space straightened up. Her original size was 2 by 3.5. The assembly is different, but the block piecing size is the same. So I started doing that size back when Miss Laura had it. So I've always cut them, but I like the idea of the potato chip length, the potato chip block better, because I can actually assemble the blocks and do them, just do one block and then put them in a container, and I already have a free container for them to go in. So all of this to say, these extra pieces, I'm going to cut them down to go in there, and so it'll all get worked out. I just hate that I fluffed it up so much that I don't have that border, but I may even, I'm sure if I go to like Joann's the day after Christmas or so, or a couple of days after, they'll have a sale on their Christmas fabric. So I may be able to find another Christmas fabric to make a border and use and get enough to do the backing too. And that'll bring the back to the front, etc. So that may be the plan. This project has not been a plan at all, but for now, it is what it is. I think I have everything cut except for that border. And honestly, I might have, I don't buy a lot of Christmas fabric. So there's no even point in me even trying to search for something. So with that said, everything on here is sort of scribbled out except for just a little bit more cutting that I need to do for the borders. I'm going to save that for last, and I'm going to start laying out the first blocks, hopefully. I hope this is much easier than what it's been so far, because this has not been a good, like, quick quilt at all. This is done on really high quality paper though. That's what's good. So I'm going to lay them out. I'm going to use my mobile design boards. I'm going to lay out a couple of blocks on here. Or no, I'm going to lay out one block. Listen, I do not trust myself nor this pattern. I'm going to lay out one block, and then I'm going to get to sewing or see how they have it. And then I'll take it from there. It looks easy. I hope it is as easy as it looks. Okay, I'll be back. I started putting this away, and I wanted to share another tip. One of the things that I have found so helpful with getting organized and sort of keeping my projects together has been shoe boxes. So this is the one that I really like. I sometimes find these, mostly I found them on Amazon. Then I've even had the more traditional ones. They're all pretty much the same size. These stack, I think, just a tiny bit better. Now these do stack because they have grooves, but they sort of have more of a, like, you can see the difference when you see them, like, so these I can get more on a shelf than these, but they both are great. So whenever I see something either on sale at Walmart I don't go to Walmart a lot, but when I do, I always go look. And also on Amazon, to get a set of these, I almost always get them. These and the 12.5 by 12.5 containers. Those are the truth. So my 12.5-inch are like these, and these will usually hold everything from cutting all the way to finished blocks, usually hold in here really well. It's rare you have a quilt that has a block bigger than 12.5 inches, but it just makes for organizing so much easier. So I just wanted to show you that. I got all everything put away. This is my back, my binding, my border, and then this is all the extra fabric that I have left for the other border and the scraps. And I'm just going to keep them all together until I finish piecing together the blocks. I'm coming back with one final check-in before I close it down for tonight. I did not finish the first block. I have it prepped to finish. Here's the handle. But I've got to find another way to do this because all of the pieces are, every single piece is a different size. So what I mean by that is, like, if you look at the handle, you can see that there's you know, several pieces on top and pieces on bottom. The background fabric on top is different than the background fabric size on bottom. So that means even if you try to chain piece, it would be a little bit off. So what I think I'm going to have to do is, after I finish this one, do one more and then literally assemble each section as one chain piece. Go from top to bottom. And I think that'll help. Even the body piece, the main body piece of the mug, it's not a square. The only pieces that are square are the snowball corners. So it just means that you, not only do you have to pay super duper close attention when cutting, you have to pay super duper close attention when you're assembling. Y'all, if you haven't realized, I'm not a precision type of quilter. I love to make beautiful quilts. I love to make things that look hard, but they are made simply, is how I like to do it. This ain't it. It's not it. So instead of crying in the car like a 2-year-old having a tantrum, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna come back, finish that one. I'm gonna do one more and figure out how I want to lay them out. But I have so many things, like, I feel like this could have made this experience a little bit better. And so we'll just talk about that when I'm done. But for now, I'm done with this, and I will see you guys in the next clip. I am back for an update. Please pardon the little hum, my little heater. But finally, one block is done. And y'all, this is one of those moments where I feel like it was just borderline having a moment of near tears. But I want to say it was worth it, but I can't say that yet. I can't say that yet. And so I'm going to flip the camera and sort of just have a small little powwow about what my next steps are for me, to see if there's some sort of redeeming quality about this project. I think this is absolutely adorable, and it really is a nice size. I'm going to see if I can put it up. Just 1 second. I'm going to try to put it up on the wall on my design board so you can see it. And so look, it's really nice. It's a nice size. It's a 12.5-inch block. So you really don't have to have a lot. But all of these itty bitty pieces, y'all, look, this is where I had a oopsie and I had to fix it. But like, these pieces are fairly small. In the end, it worked out, but yeah. So let's have a little bit of a powwow. Alexa, turn off everything in the studio.
Okay.
I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what my plan is. Y'all, I'm chillaxing today, so just know that's how we rolling. But this has been helpful to sort of do it in the moment, because I think that if I would have tried to capture all of these notes afterwards, it wouldn't have been as clear, and I think I would have had baby brain. So with that said, my plan after I have the first one done is to sort of set it up to be able to do chain piecing. The downside of this project, which has given me quite a few headaches, and y'all, I had to pull out my seam ripper, which you know I don't like to do. But there are so many pieces that look alike, but they are literally like a 1/4 of an inch or a 1/2 an inch difference. So right now, and I have them all laid out in the pen and I have them all marked, but it makes so that if you want to chain piece, it's nearly impossible. So what I'm going to do is sort of look in and do one section at a time. So for example, y'all, I don't want to have to change the angle again because I have to change the cut. But if you look behind me, like for example, all the ones that have this sort of snowball, I'm going to do all of them for every single block. Then I'm going to do the other one, right? Because the angle of this one is different than the angle in this one. So I'm going to do all of them when those are done. When it's time to attach this piece or attach this piece, because these pieces are different sizes. When I do all of this side and then all of this side, like I'm going to do every single piece as a chain piecing, and I feel like that's going to help. The only downside in that is the fact that all of the pieces have to be the same color. And so the good thing is I don't think there are any, like, there's not multiple reds or multiple greens. And if there are, the pattern is very clearly different. So I'm banking on the fact that they don't look alike and that it will be fairly easy to bring it all back together. I'm hoping that's going to make this project go faster. I'm so glad that I did a complete block and sort of worked through the assembly issues. There is still a couple things that I did, not a couple. One big thing that I did wrong that I was not about to rip out the seam, but it's not noticeable. I don't think it'll be noticeable to anyone, not even if you looked at it up close. So I think it was okay. And so that's what I'm about to do today. I think that if this works the way that it's working in my head, I should be able to get all of several steps done. If I could get all of the mugs done today, I would be so happy. But I don't know. I'm hoping that if I put on an audiobook and I'm just so in the moment and I'm only doing one piece, one angle, that it will go back to being relaxing. The fact that so many of the pieces in this block are so close, but they are only a 1/2 an inch or a 1/4 of an inch off, makes it frustrating for me. And so therefore it's not fun right now. It is not fun right now. But I think that if I'm able to make that slight transition, so I'm literally going to, I'm not even going to listen to the audiobook on my Echo. I'm going to put it on headphones and sort of bring my like stress with this quilt down. And I think then it will be fun. I would really be curious if someone else did this block or this quilt and it's just me. But I think over the years, I have become very aware of what makes quilting relaxing for me. And I thought that staying away from small pieces was the issue, or it was one of the things that helped. It's not the small pieces that bother me. I think it's like these small little isms where I do better with repetition, because that's when your brain can sort of relax. Like you're paying attention, but you don't have to look at every single piece. Like it's really actually, I mean, truly stressful for me. Like, and listen, Stressful is like probably not even the right word. It's probably more annoying than stressful, because I really don't let myself get stressed like that. But it is something that makes it not fun. So I'm hoping to get the fun back. I have a lot of pieces to do. I have 27 blocks to do and I only have one, and so that means each one of these are a lot of pieces. Another thing that I did not like, and I can't remember if I mentioned it, and I'm hoping I don't mention it a million times, but some of these blocks have what they call toppers, and I'm going to show you on the color version. See here, where it's like that little whip topping, and I think that this was in the original version, which is called optional toppings is what they're calling it. But in the version for connecting threads, they don't account for that. Now the directions has it, but they don't account for it in your cutting. And I think it would almost look odd, being that the background fabric is in ivory, which is what they're calling it. I'm calling it a cream because I don't think it's ivory, but whatever. So white on ivory would just blend in too much, and that may be why. But when I saw this, I thought that was so cute, and I really wanted to have at least a couple that had that mix. Right now I'm like, it's just going to be what it is, and I'm just gonna have to get over it. But I may add it to the version of this that I want to do for myself. So yeah, that's a little bit of a disappointment. The final thing is, I was on quilting with a friend, and she said more than once, I can't believe you're still doing this quilt. I would have been done. And she said it so many times. I was like, ma'am, you are not being supportive. And the reason why I'm trying so hard is because I think this quilt is going to be so perfect for my coffee quilt. And so I'm hoping that me weathering through the headaches of this version, that I think it's going to be adorable. I think in the end, I hope I have baby brain, and that I forget all about all these headaches, and then I'll remember when I edit this footage, and then it'll go away again when I'm making my coffee quilt. But right now is not the day. And so I'm just weathering through this because I really, really want to make this for myself, and I just feel like it is perfect for large prints. The body of it is almost an 8-inch block, so big chunky coffee prints are just going to be perfect. So yeah, the final thing that I will say that is a plus in this is a plus for this quilt is that you really could do this. Y'all, I really hate that I look shifty. I keep wanting to look right here because that's where I am, and the camera's right there, so I'm just gonna look straight ahead, and if I look shifty, then you know why. The final thing is, I do believe this is the perfect quilt to do a block at a time. Now, the way that it was done, because all of the pieces were sort of together, because it was a kit, it wasn't necessarily. But if you were doing this, they have instructions for cutting if you had different, what do you want to call it? Different size pieces. So like if you had a fat quarter or a fat 8, and I believe that that would have been perfect, so that you wouldn't have found yourself cutting up a million pieces at once. You could have maybe had so many fat quarters, and then you just take out a fat quarter, cut up what you want, assemble those blocks. They would have fit perfectly in a 12.5-inch container, and you could have slowly done that. And that's what I plan to do for my quilt. And so I think had it been like that too, that would have taken off a little bit of the edge of the fact that it's so nuanced. And so that's what I have for now. So with that said, I'm going to get back to it. I'm going to use my large cutting board to lay out some of the repetitive pieces and like do each one at a time. So the first one is going to be literally like the little handle aspects, the bottom, the top and the bottom of the handle, and then I'll go into the long part of the handle. So I'll just be doing like that. I'll do the left, the top, the bottom, the side. Then I'll be able to do the top and the bottom to finish off the handle. Then I'll go and do all of the big blocks for the body. Then I'll do all of the sides, and then the final tops and the final bottoms can be done at the same time if I want. And so that's sort of going to be my assembly. So with that said, this clip was longer than I anticipated. Yeah, let's keep the part going. I think in some ways this may feel like it's overkill to lay it out like this, but I've had so many mishaps that I just feel like I just gotta do it. I'm just gonna put these in the corner. This is the last clip that I'm going to do for part 1 of getting this Christmas quilt done. You'll have to see if I actually get it done by Christmas in part 2. Definitely let me know in the comment section if you guys like this vlog style project of me completing one full quilt top. I am enjoying it, even though this process has been slightly stressful, as you can see, and overall I'm loving how things are coming together. There is more footage to come on this particular quilt, and I'm looking forward to bringing it back. So I will see you in the comments. Let me know, are you working on any quilts right now? Did you make any Christmas quilts this past year? And whether you are enjoying this vlog, I am, and I do have more to come, so I'm looking forward to hearing from you guys. So with that said, I will let you finish watching this final clip, and I will see you in part 2. Oh goodness, y'all, we have so much more to go. I'll see you then. Take care, and as always, I will see you hopefully sooner than later. Goodbye.
Yeah. I've been down so in love like. I've been down so in love like. I've been down so in love like. I've been down so.